the president's biggest campaign donor, who was so close that Trump invited him to sleep at the White House, is now calling for him to be impeached and replaced by Vice President J.D. Vance. The man who was handed nearly unfettered access to the federal government is openly musing about forming his own political party. And the same guy, the billionaire backing the U.S. space program, he's now threatening to take his rockets and go home. What at this time yesterday was a one-sided attack on the president's signature spending bill is no longer just a policy disagreement, not even close. It has now become quite personal, as the president says he thinks he knows why.
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles, and they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And Elon knew this from the beginning.
As Trump was speaking from the Oval Office, Elon Musk responded in real time, writing this, quote, "False. This bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of the night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. And quote, whatever, keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair, but ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill." And with the German chancellor sitting by his side today, with the president there in the Oval, he said what he had been bottling up really for days now.
You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk, and even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything, and I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know.
Not to be outdone, Musk posted in response to that, quote, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and Republicans in the Senate would be 51 to 49. Such ingratitude," he added. As the White House was scrambling to react to all of this as it was playing out in real time today, with aides now forced to attack the person they have been defending for months in front of the cameras. Look at this. You can still see the imprint of Musk on the White House, that red Tesla that the president bought from him. Our Jay McMichael shot this. It was still sitting right outside the West Wing, parked on West Exec.
He's a great patriot, and he's also done an incredible job with Tesla. And I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so. I love Tesla.
It's not clear if he still feels the same way tonight. Today, the president declared that Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. Then came the threat that could really hurt. The president said the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Tesla's stock price took a massive hit after that, $150 billion in market value gone as the two were trading attacks today. According to Bloomberg, Elon Musk lost $34 billion today. That financial hit, though, does not seem to be enough for his critics in MAGA world.
This guy is all over the map. He's right. But he's emblematic of these oligarchs. All of them have the maturity of a 9-year-old, and they're dangerous. They're dangerous not just to the president of the United States. More importantly, they're dangerous to this republic and the citizens of this constitutional republic.
At one point, the president seemed to maybe be trying to cool things off. He said, quote, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done this months ago." And I'm told that allies of both the president and Musk were kind of caught in the middle of all of this today. They were quietly and delicately trying to broker peace between the two men behind the scenes. But those efforts were upended when Elon Musk wrote this. This was really kind of the end of that. He said, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not made public. Have a nice day, DJT." Now, I should note tonight there's no evidence when it comes to what this looks like in terms of the Epstein files beyond that. The White House says his bomb is an unfortunate episode. And several people familiar with what was happening behind the scenes described the Epstein tweet to me as the tipping point, though, in this relationship, now fearing that there is no going back. We have a full house of deeply sourced insiders to start us off on what is a remarkable day at the White House. CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan and Brian Stelter, and also Politico's Dasha Burns and the Associated Press's Sungmin Kim. Dasha, I just want to know what you're hearing from people at the White House tonight, because what we were hearing is, yes, this was a breakup that was predictable, but even people inside the White House did not see it going down like this and as fast as it happened today. I mean, the group chats inside the White House were just on fire today. People comparing it to a divorce, saying, yeah, we thought it was going to happen, but maybe not until the fall or in a few months. What have you been hearing from people tonight?
Yeah, my phone's been just absolutely blowing up. People inside the White House, people on the Hill. I mean, the divorce analogies are rampant right now. Look, it was the ferocity, how quickly this happened, and once he started going down the rabbit hole of the Epstein files, that's when the conversation with White House allies and people inside of the White House really changed. As I was communicating with folks all day, they were saying this is now going into crazy town. People were telling me that the president is concerned about Elon Musk's well-being, that you saw the reporting as we all did from the Times around the drug use. They didn't expect it to go quite in this direction. And at this point, earlier on, people were saying, look, they fight. These are two titans. They're clashing, but they'll come back together. Now it seems like the hope for any sort of reconciliation is gone. And the goal is just to try to turn the temperature down here.
I mean, Sungmin, that's really the question here, is how you turn the temperature down when you have got these two major personalities, two alphas who are trying to essentially outdo one another in terms of inflicting harm, now that this relationship we're watching it totally implode.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk and Donald Trump hit each other where it hurts the most. They hit each other's egos. And for Elon Musk, Donald Trump really hit at his wallet. So it's really difficult to see what the two sides can do to at least even turn the temperature down a little. But this fight could have really serious actual consequences for President Trump's agenda. I was really fascinated by some of the early comments we were getting from Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill about the impact on that so-called one big beautiful bill. I mean, there's Ryan Zinke, Republican from Montana. He was Interior Secretary for President Trump in his first term, and he said that you have the richest man in the world and you have the most powerful man in the world going up against each other. It really can put the bill in serious jeopardy. And while I'm a little bit skeptical about I'm just a little skeptical at this point about how much power Elon Musk will have at this point. I think a lot of his power within the Republican Party comes from his proximity to Donald Trump, but it certainly doesn't help when the fate of the bill is already very much teetering on the edge.
Yeah, and Donnie, when it started out just, this policy fight on what was happening on Capitol Hill. Obviously, anyone who crosses Trump should expect to face his wrath. It was actually surprising how long he took to respond to Elon Musk. But on the Epstein files, I think just to properly convey to people who may not be on Twitter as much as you and I are, it is the lowest of the low insults to say to someone in right-wing media or the right-wing atmosphere, oh, you're in the Epstein files.
Yes, that really is, that is the kryptonite here. And maybe why Trump finally responded, right? I mean, when it comes to the Epstein files, Epstein lists, whatever folks want to call it, it doesn't actually matter what it is in reality. I mean, there have been names that have been associated with Jeffrey Epstein that have been released through court. Trump's name came out in documents last year, but there was absolutely no accusation of wrongdoing on Trump's part whatsoever. But his name was as somebody who knew Epstein. What is most important, though, is what people in the MAGAverse imagine what this list is to be, right? And this, they imagine, is a list of all the bad people who went to Epstein's Island and who, abused young women and did other criminal things. And what people also believe is that that list is made up of Trump's enemies normally, right? We see there's been many versions of this list that have circulated online.
They did this to themselves because it was the Trump orbit that amplified the conspiracy theories about Jeffrey Epstein's list and who was on it and what it meant about those people. And so for Elon Musk to say that is why that kind of takes this to this other level. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that there was wrongdoing. We don't know that.
No.
But there's already pictures of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together. We knew he was a member at Mar-a-Lago and then was removed from the club. But it was kind of the right turning on the right here.
100%. And there is going to be a situation now where people have to choose sides, right? GOP lawmakers are already asking themselves, am I choosing Trump or Musk? I'm sure most of them will choose Trump.